Ever wondered where the saying, "boys will be boys," originated from? This popular phrase, often used to shrug off reckless actions as inherent to male nature, has an intriguing history. It's believed to have originated during the 16th century in Latin as "children, boys, are children, boys, and do childish things," implying the innocence of children's actions. However, over time its meaning has morphed significantly. In the 19th century it was commonly used to excuse boys' boisterous behavior, as they were expected to grow out of such antics. By the 20th century, it was increasingly used to dismiss more harmful or reckless actions. Unfortunately, this phrase has often served as a free pass for inappropriate behavior, reinforcing a harmful narrative that boys and men cannot be held accountable for their actions. As we've seen, "boys will be boys" has a long history of excusing behavior that can be harmful or damaging. Let's take a journey through time and see how "boys will be boys" has been used and interpreted in different eras. Imagine, if you will, the 19th century. A young lad hurls a rock through a window, a reckless grin on his face. The adults observe, and one gentleman, chuckling, remarks, "Boys will be boys, am I right?" But a woman nearby frowns, pointing out, "That's not funny. Someone could have gotten hurt." Fast forward to the 20th century. A group of boys are roughhousing in a field, their laughter echoing across the landscape. A man observes, shrugging off the aggressive play with a simple, "Let them be, boys will be boys." But a woman nearby rolls her eyes, countering, "That's not an excuse for poor behavior." Now we're in the 21st century. A boy bullies another, his words cutting like a knife. He justifies his actions with a flippant, "What? Boys will be boys." But this time, it's a girl who steps in, firm in her assertion, "No, that's not okay. You need to apologize." What's the common thread here? The phrase, "boys will be boys," used time and again to excuse harmful behavior. The implication? That there's something inherent about being a boy that makes such behavior acceptable. But as our journey through time shows, there's always been pushback against this notion. Each era had voices of dissent, people who recognized that the saying was being used as a harmful excuse. They understood that being a boy was not a free pass to cause harm or distress to others. Far from being an innocent phrase, "boys will be boys," has often served to perpetuate a harmful understanding of masculinity, one that excuses and normalizes negative behavior. We've come a long way in challenging the harmful norms that sayings like these promote, yet the echo of "boys will be boys" still reverberates in our society, shaping perceptions and behaviors. We need to keep questioning, keep challenging, and keep pushing for a more thoughtful understanding of what it truly means to be a boy, a man. From the 19th century to the present day, "boys will be boys" has been used as an excuse for harmful behavior. So what impact has "boys will be boys" had on our society? The answer to this question is complex and far-reaching. For too long, this phrase has been used to excuse reckless, aggressive, or even violent behavior. In doing so, it's perpetuated harmful stereotypes and enabled what's widely known as toxic masculinity. Toxic masculinity is a term that refers to societal norms that consider certain harmful behaviors as inherently male. These behaviors can include aggression, lack of emotion, and dominance. The phrase "boys will be boys" is often used to shrug off these behaviors as unavoidable or even natural characteristics of being male. But the truth is, they're neither unavoidable nor natural. They're learned behaviors often reinforced by societal expectations and stereotypes. Many experts have weighed in on this issue. Psychologists argue that the phrase "boys will be boys" can limit the emotional growth of boys, suggesting that they can't or shouldn't express a full range of emotions. Sociologists note that this saying reinforces gender inequalities, creating an environment where men feel entitled to behave in harmful ways without consequence. Beyond these academic perspectives, personal anecdotes also paint a vivid picture of the damage this phrase can do. There are countless stories of young boys who were told to "man up" instead of being allowed to express their feelings. There are tales of girls who were told to tolerate boorish behavior because boys will be boys. But this doesn't have to be our narrative. Challenging the "boys will be boys" mentality isn't about demonizing boys or men. It's about recognizing that boys, like all humans, have a full range of emotions and should be allowed to express them. It's about teaching boys that aggression and dominance aren't the only ways to assert themselves. As we've seen, the saying "boys will be boys" perpetuates harmful stereotypes and enables toxic masculinity. Our society deserves better. Our boys deserve better. Let's challenge this harmful narrative and strive for a more positive understanding of what it means to be a boy, a man, a human. How can we move towards a more positive understanding of masculinity? This question is more pressing than ever, as we strive to challenge the age-old saying, boys will be boys. It's about time we redefined masculinity, considering it not as a rigid box, but as a spectrum of experiences, emotions, and characteristics. Let's start by acknowledging that masculinity is not synonymous with dominance, aggression, or emotional indifference. Men, like everyone else, are emotional beings. They can be compassionate, nurturing, and sensitive. These traits aren't unmanly, they're human. We should also challenge the notion that boys must be rough and tumble. Boys can and should be allowed to express their feelings, be creative, and explore interests beyond the stereotypical boyish activities. Experts suggest encouraging boys from a young age to express their emotions openly and to be empathetic towards others. They also recommend teaching boys that strength isn't just physical, but also emotional and mental. It's about standing up for what's right, respecting others, and being responsible. We've got some great examples too. Picture a father who isn't afraid to show his love for his children, a man who stands up against injustice, a boy who loves to dance, or a teenager who isn't afraid to cry when he's sad. These are all positive representations of masculinity, and they're all around us. It's also important to note that masculinity isn't just for those who identify as male. People of all genders can display traits traditionally associated with masculinity, and this doesn't make them any less valid. So, let's redefine masculinity together. Let's teach our boys that being a man means being kind, respectful, and emotionally aware. Let's show them that they can be strong without being aggressive. They can be leaders without being dictatorial. They can be sensitive without being weak. By challenging boys will be boys, we can promote a healthier understanding of masculinity and foster a more inclusive society.